Patriots head out west and forget to bring the offense with them. Patriots lose to the San Francisco 49ers by a final score of 30-13. Let's get right into this breakdown. We are now set up with back-to-back weeks here where the New England Patriots offense really just could not establish anything that they wanted to do here. And teams are starting to just sense blood in the water with this offensive line. And the blitz rates are going to continue to pile up here against the New England Patriots, giving up 6 sacks this week by the offensive line. And I'm sure it could have been a lot worse. Jacoby Brissett was very elusive back there and actually made a lot of plays with his legs that actually prevented a couple of other sacks. But I wouldn't be surprised if the pressure amount was damn near triple the sack rate there. Probably gave up around 18 pressures throughout this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it was triple the sack amount. But the offensive line really just is in shambles right now. You're on your 4th string left tackle with, I believe it's Demetrius Jacobs on the left side there going up against Nick Bosa. And you really just saw towards the end of the game there, absolutely no chance, not even competitive really, against one of the best pass rushers in this league, if not the best. But, I mean, this is your offensive line, and I know David Andrews went down, which is obviously a huge loss. Your real communicator from the center position there along the offensive line. But to that point, you had 4 out of your 5 starters in this game here, with Sidney Sell coming back and having David Andrews, of course, being in the game at that point. And the offensive line still really just did not look good whatsoever. And honestly, today, Layden Robinson got absolutely cooked on the inside there. I believe there was back-to-back plays where he gave up heavy pressure against Jacoby Brissett there. I believe it was Mac Hollins in the middle there for the 49ers. Got beat back-to-back plays. Once was for a sack, and then another was a throwaway by Jacoby. But, I mean, this is what's going to happen. He's going to have to take his lumps. Hopefully he can continue to develop and kind of learn from these experiences here. And it certainly helps when you have David Andrews right next to you at your left and Michael Onwenu at your right side there. But when Nick Lever comes into the game, you lose a big sign there on your left side right there. And you really just saw that this offensive line continues to struggle. And Jacoby Brissett just frankly does not have the time to really throw. And really, honestly, to even have success with not a lot of separation getting achieved there by the receivers. I will say a positive sign for this offense is that Jalen Polk was more involved today. I believe he had a total of 7 targets for 3 receptions. Made a real nice catch along the sideline there. Back shoulder throw. Real nice throw there by Jacoby. But ultimately, really kind of struggled offensively on the day. There was that kind of deep dig route there by Jalen Polk where it kind of bounced off his hands. Looks like he kind of, I want to say he stuttered, but it more so kind of looked like he was slow out of his break. And if he was a little quicker there, I believe it would have been an easier catch for him to make there. But either way, that's a catch that you have to make, and it almost resulted in a turnover there. So that could be a rookie learning moment there from Jalen Polk there. And really, Jacoby Brissett just did not have the time, not a lot of separation there. And that pick 6 play to Fred Warner, obviously. I believe that Jacoby Brissett, frankly, just kind of had his eyes red, and it was a great play by Fred Warner. I think that he did have Jalen Polk as well as Demario Douglas open on the other side of the field. It looked like it was kind of like 3 crossing routes there on the play action, and it looked like either Polk or Demario Douglas would have found that open spot in the zone. And honestly, Jacoby Brissett, I think honestly just missed that one. He was under pressure. He had to get rid of that ball. And unfortunately, he just made the wrong decision there, trying to fire it into Tyquan. And Fred Warner absolutely ate that up for the pick 6 there. But like I said, Patriots just really couldn't establish the ground game. And Ramondre Stevenson kind of has to hold on to the ball there. This is the 4th straight game, and there's a little bit of a question mark here with Ramondre Stevenson. I'm sure the coaching staff is starting to lose a little bit of confidence in him there. And considering the fact that he's the majority of your offense, that is not a good sign whatsoever. So whatever he has to do to get this fumbling issue done and over with, he has to commit to that right now because he is costing this team possessions, and this team just frankly cannot afford to give up possessions. They're not going to make a lot of those possessions that they get, but anytime they're giving away possessions and putting their defense in a bad spot, they don't have enough firepower to overcome this. And it's like we've been saying all season so far, this Patriots offense is going to have to win in the trenches here. And Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, and JaMycal Hasty are probably going to have have to have around like 40 so carries for the Patriots to have a game, and they're going to have to dominate time of possessions. And when your offense is going 3 and out or giving up a lot of sacks and pressures early on in the game there, and forcing this team really to become a drop back passing team, which is something that they're not, it's completely understandable why this offense struggles, and this coaching staff really has to do a better job of kind of getting this short passing game going. I saw some early glimpses in this game of some minor success, but when you fall down that big of a hole early on and you're turning the ball over, you have to shift the game plan. So this team has to start getting off to better starts offensively. Come out the gates like they did against Seattle and against Cincinnati, running the ball well and kind of establishing that dominance in the ground game. So moving over to the defensive side of the ball here today, I would say that the Patriots defense performed rather admirably. There were certainly some positive aspects to take away, as well as a lot of negatives. But when you give up in total 23 points to the Niners offense, especially given that 3 of those points were in a short field scenario, I would say that that's pretty solid considering the amount of weapons that they had and considering the amount of time that the defense was on the field here today. And early on in this game, it was playing very similar to how the Jets game went. The Patriots' defensive line were able to get pressure against the opposing quarterback. However, since they lost their containment on some of those rushes, they really do need to do a better job of setting the edge on their rushes. Keon White in particular, I remember made an inside move that allowed Brock Purdy to scramble around and pick up a first down with his legs there. But I will give the defensive coaching staff as well as the defensive players some credit. I do think that after that first drive, they did clean up their containment a little bit. Sometimes I think that Brock Purdy is just a very elusive, and of late he's been showing off a lot of that scrambling ability. But I would say that this defensive line has to start getting home to the quarterback more. Today they only had 1 sack, credit to Deatrice Wise, and that was a cover sack as well, or a coverage sack. So I think that this Patriots coaching staff is going to have to start sending more guys to get better pressure and allow these defensive linemen to have success and bring these quarterbacks down to the ground. Because Keon White really right now is their only guy who's winning their one-on-one passing scenarios, as well as Josh Uche. But they're frankly just not getting to the quarterback. I mean, they only had 1 sack today, and really they could have had so much more yardage go against them. If it wasn't for the Niners kind of shooting themselves in the foot, this Patriots defense would have been giving up yards all over the place today, and it really kind of just showed more so in the scoreboard. But I will give the Patriots defense credit, and this is kind of where the Niners have actually been struggling a little bit this season. They did kind of clamp up in the red zone, and when the Niners got inside their own, the Patriots 20, they did a much better job of not allowing touchdowns compared to field goals in this game, I would say, this week. And speaking more so about the secondary here, obviously Kyle Duggar goes down. He's your defensive play caller, so I do think that there was some communication errors between the secondary, especially on that play where Jonathan Jones did end up getting beat deep by Deebo Samuel on that post route. I think that Jonathan Jones thought that Jalen Hawkins was going to be playing more so that deep safety look instead of what looked like a robber look that Jalen Hawkins was playing, and it kind of took away that Brandon Ayuk dig route across the middle of the field. However, since Jonathan Jones was playing more so that outside leverage, thinking that he has help deep with that safety, Deebo Samuel was able to kind of just blow by him on that post. And obviously that gashed the Patriots defense for a big gain there. And also, I mean, that one to Jawan Jennings, that's really just a great play by Jawan Jennings there. He's really carving himself out a role as that third receiver between Deebo and Brandon Ayuk. And Marcus Jones was really honestly just in perfect coverage. I mean, it looked like the gloves really helped out Jawan Jennings there. Almost kind of one-handed it and brought it in with 2. But that was a perfect throw by Brock Purdy, and Marcus Jones really just couldn't play much better coverage there. Jawan Jennings, honestly, just having a little bit of that height difference might have allowed for him to make that catch there. But I would say ultimately the Patriots secondary did a pretty solid job in coverage. It's just you can only cover for so long, and with how often Brock Purdy was extending these plays, it really was more so a struggle for the defensive backs, because when Brock Purdy was able to extend these plays, it becomes more difficult to play man coverage with the extended amount of time that you're asked to cover these really good receivers And that's why I thought that the Patriots ultimately had to play a lot of zone today, especially when you're not getting that much pressure. I understand, like, on the back end, they have some great targets, but I would like for them to kind of play that more of that man coverage. I do think that their cornerbacks is probably their best position of depth on this team, or more so just the secondary in general. And I feel like that's a true strength. I feel like they have the ability to kind of man up against these teams with Marcus Jones, Johnny Jones, as well as Christian Gonzalez, all very good in man coverage. But just due to the fact that they're really unable to get pressure, they have to cover for longer. And when you're going up against guys like Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and Jawan Jennings, you frankly just can't keep that up, especially with the amount of time the 49ers offense was on the field. And the Patriots kind of have to rely on that zone coverage, where in my personal opinion, I feel like this team is a lot weaker when you have to play zone, and it kind of takes away a bit of the Patriots' strength with how aggressive their secondary can be, just due to the fact of their really good man-to-man corners. So that's a little disappointing there from a Patriots defensive standpoint, how they're unable to kind of play man coverage just due to the fact that their defensive line isn't getting home, and they're asking that these corners really have to guard for a large portion of plays. I mean, when the quarterbacks are given 4 to 5 seconds of time to throw, receivers are eventually going to get open there. So it's really going to have to be on this defensive line to get more pressure, or they're going to have to start sending blitzes. And I think that they did actually send a little more of a blitzing look today. And I know in particular there was that big defensive play where Jabril Peppers actually had himself a sack that he was unable to corral because he just frankly missed the tackle there. And that's another thing where the Patriots really kind of have to put that away. It was a little bit of an issue last week with the missed tackles, so they're going to have to start tackling better. I would think that they would have given a longer week here. They were able to kind of more so rest their bodies, but the 49ers frankly just have a lot of playmakers, so that might be why. But I felt like the secondary did a solid job today. Unfortunately, the Niners just took advantage of some key plays there, and if the Patriots secondary are able to eliminate some of those communication issues, it's really going to solidify this back end. And hopefully Kyle Duggar is able to participate next game, because they're frankly going to need him against a Miami offense that is going to rely heavily probably on the ground game next week, due to the fact that Skylar Thompson is going to be in this game, and Kyle Duggar is one of the best hybrid safeties in the league of coming up and making run tackling plays from a secondary standpoint. So we're going to have to monitor Kyle Duggar's injury concern here, and it's going to be really interesting how this Patriots defense, if they choose to start blitzing more, especially next week with a guy like Skylar Thompson under center for the Miami Dolphins, or if they kind of have that conservative approach because you have to deal with guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So I'm going to be interested to see if DeMarcus Covington kind of revs up this blitz rate against the Miami Dolphins offense next week. I also wanted to talk about the Patriots special team unit, because I felt like that was the biggest bright spot here for the Patriots against the 49ers. Obviously, Christian Ellis forcing that fumble on the opening kickoff of the second half really set up the Patriots offense to have their one score or their one touchdown of the game there. And Joey Sly setting a franchise record for a field goal distance. Really impressive there, and also hit himself another 50-yarder. So was very impressed by the kick coverage as well as the kicking return game. Marcus Jones, obviously one of the best return men in the game, and the coverage as well as the returning specialists today really had themselves a nice day. And I felt like that was the one area where the Patriots really did outperform the Niners, and it actually got the Patriots a little bit back into the game at some point. But real nice job by Jeffrey Springs and this special teams unit of the New England Patriots there. So that was a very big bright spot compared to last week, as well as against Seattle, where they had a little bit of some issues. So very good to see the Patriots special teams unit get back on track here. All right, everyone, thank you so much again for watching this Patriots recap against the 49ers. Next week, week 5, we're going up against Miami in Gillette. Let's see if the Patriots could get back on track here and hopefully come up with a W. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and once again, thank you so much for watching.